Hello, welcome to Look North.
Tonight, the campaign against high-speed rail for Yorkshire gathers pace. Residents along the route fear a property blight and form protest groups.
Our future has been taken away from us. The plans that we've made for us and for our children have just been wiped out.
We'll put their concerns to a director of the HS2 project.
Welcome to the programme. Thanks for joining us. First tonight, there's growing concern that plans to build a high-speed rail link through parts of Yorkshire will have a big impact on property prices.
It's actually only 8 days since the route of the HS2 from Birmingham to Yorkshire was actually revealed. But already some residents along it are forming protest groups. We'll be speaking to the director of the plan in just a moment. But first, Spencer Stokes reports from 2 Yorkshire communities where residents feel very strongly.
Trains have been passing through the village of Church Fenton since 1839. It's a busy railway line connecting the North East with Yorkshire. And now it's going to get a new neighbour, HS2. But residents don't want it. They say it's too close to the village, house prices will fall, and the countryside will be ruined.
It's an attack on our way of life. I think sometimes people who live in cities and their life revolves around the cafe culture don't really realise what open countryside, access to fields, bridle ways means to people. But for people who have chosen to come and live in the countryside, it's everything.
It's not just HS2's proximity to Church Fenton that worries people in the village. The proposed route will cross this field here on a 60-foot tall concrete bridge before connecting up with the East Coast Main Line.
Up 60 foot into the air and then...
That bridge will be behind Jenny Jones' garden fence. She says it'll make her home worthless.
We paid a lot of money for this property and part of that was because of the view that we had, or that we have at the moment. And that will be absolutely devastated. It's just going to rock our world.
And Church Fenton isn't the only community where people are demanding changes be made to the HS2 route through Yorkshire. Last night at a steamy meeting, residents in Woodlesford discussed their concerns.
People locally are not willing to be victims of this development. They want to make sure that they're treated fairly, and if there is compensation out there, that they get their fair share.
Just over a week ago, most people in Woodlesford and Church Fenton hadn't heard of HS2. Now it could be coming past their homes. And they want to know if they'll be adequately compensated.
What I would like HS2 to say to people about compensation is if this railway line is going to devalue your property, in other words, take money from you, then we will refund that.
In 8 days, lives have been changed. Sleepy commuter villages transformed into campaign hotspots, determined to see off HS2. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, Church Fenton.
Well, Clinton Leeks is from the HS2 project. I asked him what compensation people could expect if their houses were close to the route.
First of all, there's something called an exceptional hardship scheme. That's really what it says. It is exceptional. It's to give people the chance, in current circumstances, where we haven't gone to full consultation on the full route between Birmingham and Leeds and Manchester, if they have an urgent need to sell, they can make a case to us, and there's a panel that looks at it within its rules and decides if we can help them. If they have got a case based on the fact that they've suffered a drop in fair market price, then we can buy their property from them. We're out to consultation on that now, so that people will be able to start taking action if they have an immediate need to sell and move.
So is that hardship fund open to anyone then? For instance, if you lose, say, half the value of your property, are you saying HS2 will refund that money?
In principle, I mean, the rules, I'm afraid, because it's public money, the rules are quite careful, and people obviously have to submit their applications, and we'll look at them as sympathetically but as fairly as we can. But yes, in principle, if people meet the criteria by showing they've put their house on the market, their property on the market, they have a genuine need to move, maybe there's been a change of circumstances, maybe they've got to move for work, whatever it might be, then we'll look at that and we will pay what's called the unblighted market value. That's the value of the property as if High Speed 2 had not been there. And that's out to consultation at the moment, so it won't come in quite now, but obviously people hopefully will comment and then be ready to apply if they're eligible. And then in due course, like on phase 1, we'll implement a full property scheme, which is a bit more complicated and more long-term, but the emergency, the exceptional scheme, is for the short term. And obviously there are people with short-term needs.
We've got 20 years of uncertainty here. Any chance the route could change, which would lead to added complications for people, wouldn't it?
Yes, it will. Everything in Britain is subject to change, and we are going through a full consultation process. Ministers have made clear this is their preferred route. We'll be talking to the local authorities to make sure they're comfortable with that along the line between Birmingham and Leeds and Manchester. And then later this year we were going out to full consultation when the public will have their turn to give their views, and we'll digest that with ministers and then announce the recommended route next year.